Damn. They fucked up my little boy. My little goblin. Goblo Goblin was his name. And that really sucks. I'm gonna miss that little freak. No! No! Damn. Shit, player. Motherfucking Goblo Goblin's dead. For real.
And so now we must begin anew with a new little freak that I must make. This guy looks perfect. Israel knew about the first Garrett air base bombing ahead of time and chose not to warn the US because they wanted more involvement in Lebanon. Israel manipulated/had some control over Abu and the Dal group and used them as agent provocateurs for this battle. Israel knew about 9/11 and chose not to tell the US because they wanted the US more involved in the MU. I think I spoke to
George.
Stole. You have to reverse it to the text.
George has been born into a world of struggle and turmoil. A freak in a world of prejudice and of little pity. So he must fend for himself. Unfortunately, that means turning to a life of crime. Stealing from the poor bastard who lived in this shed. Next, George headed to the only place in town that'll buy his random scraps. The bar, run by a group of trade ninjas. After selling his trash, George spotted a group of starving homeless people. P.U. Seeing people slightly weaker than him set him into a frenzy and he sprung into a devastating attack out of nowhere. Luckily, it seems the town shares George's sentiment about the homeless, and they joined in the massacre. Once the fighting is over, George showed no remorse at all. Starts taking what little they have to sell at the bar. One of the homeless is still alive. This upsets George, so he tries to pummel him and gets his ass beat. George is a weak little bitch, so he stood no chance and he knew it. Now he lays in the blood and dirt while everyone dismisses this little dirt freak boy. Seems George has made some enemies in his short existence, as he gets jumped by another group of homeless vagrants. George tries his luck with the town to see if the bloodthirsty savages would fight off the homeless hot on his trail. Ever bloodthirsty, the townsfolk immediately take up arms and slaughter the homeless. Soon after George leaves town, he encounters a herd of ghosts that are being attacked by a group of scavengers. George, of course, takes the opportunity to beat them and steal all their stuff. But George also has a soft place in his heart for these animals, and they don't judge him like people do. Returning to town, it seems the trade ninjas did not care for a band of nomadic traders walking up on their block. So they decide to try to pop these jokers, but all hell breaks loose. George, in the midst of all the chaos, finds the perfect opportunity to enrich himself and steals anything he can find. Somehow, he is an expert butcher, and in half a second, he completely skinned 2 pack animals and stole all of their shit. And some down ninja's gear before slinking off. After a long day's work, George hits the hay and lets the chaos run amok. After a short nap, George spots a wanted criminal with a bounty of 3,700 cats. Big money for broke boy George. So, being the opportunistic scoundrel, he scoops up their unconscious body. He sees that they're wanted by the Holy Nation, a huge faction of religious zealots who despise anyone different from them. George doesn't care, and he just wants the money, so he runs to the new town. When he reaches Stack, he's allowed in, but someone immediately accuses him of spreading lies about them. Walking into what he thought was a police station, he wakes their High Inquisitor and hands them a bounty. They don't pay him, and he's too frightened to say otherwise, so he leaves empty-handed. Outside of Stack, George encounters another group of scavengers who are hunting more goats.
Whoa. This is badass. Whoa. 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 Shit. Almost got nicked. Whoa. Get him, George. Get him. Is George winning? I don't know. This is really something. This is awesome. This is really
After a long, badass battle, George eats a sandwich. Yum. Returning to the hub, George encounters more goons that deserve a beatdown. No one is safe, not even cripples. After murdering that cripple, George sells all their gear, as well as the scavengers. Walking out of the bar, George spots a few bodies ripe for pilfering. With all of the newfound loot George has acquired, he turns around and stashes it away. And sleeps soundly through that night. The next morning, George packs some of his loot and hikes down to the nearby town of Squim to sell and buy camp supplies, for the training in Skinner's Room is treacherous and he needs to be prepared. Entering Skinner's Room, George spots a group of bison bull cow things goring a group of bandits. Wanting to get in on that action, George joins in the beatdown of the bandits, hopefully to get on the bison's good side, and to get some loot as well. After a split-second training montage, George, after a few battles, has stumbled across a holy trade caravan getting ambushed. Knowing that they carry high-value goodies, he uses his sticky fingers to take anything that's not nailed down and stuffs them away before getting his shit rocked.
Dang. Will we ever see the rest of George? Who knows? I don't. Maybe you do. But we know he's just laying in a bloody puddle over there in the sand, so. Will we get up? Is he gonna get eaten by like wolves or coyotes or fucking random bugmen or something? Who knows? But